Shalom. Pastor coming back at you with this truth. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Shai Hashem Kodash. Can't praise him enough. I'm not going to say all praises. I'm going to say all praises. Kal Halal Yahweh Bashem Shai Hashem Kodash. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video simply the Israelite foreigners and other topics. There's a video that I just clicked on. I saw maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds, and I said I had to make a video on this because I was thinking of another topic, but I'll open up with this. There was another video that I was going to make, which I am going to make, but I'm not going to put it on YouTube. You got to go to my Odyssey page in order to see it, and it's concerning the small hats, and that there's two small hats talking about that we're going to have the goyim, they're going to be, our servants, and that they're partially, the goyim, they're partially servants right now. And I can't put that on. Maybe just saying it might get the video taken down. When you, small hat alert, when you say something about small hats, when we say it, there's a problem, but there's a video. I'm just going to show you the video, but it's going to be, I'm not even going to dialogue on it. It's just you just got to go to my Odyssey page to see it. Now we teach that the other nations are going into captivity and get a lot of pushback from that. But these people say the same thing because they're reading, they're reading from the scriptures. They're reading from the Tanakh. Look that up. I'm not going to tell you what Tanakh means. It's an acronym. They don't deal with the New Testament, of course, but they do say in the video that the goyim will be our servants. They are our servants already, partially. But there's going to be a time when the Messiah comes that they're going to be fully enslaved under those people, the small hats. But there's no talk about them. They're not, on the news, having to explain, why do you say that you're going to put other nations in captivity? But when we say it, it's a problem. Anyway, this is put up by GMS Maccabean Spirit, which is the elder leader of Chicago GMS, Elder Malcolm. He puts up very good videos. He'll put up like this is not even 10 minutes, but the 30 seconds just said, hey, what he said what he showed in 30 seconds, I already know what he's going to say. So I don't even have to watch the whole video, but I will. But he'll go right to the point. He'll go right in. Anyway, yeah, you don't got to put no 2-hour video up. You can say a lot in 5 minutes. Sometimes the Spirit's on you, just say a few things, but hit the point. Okay, so now this right here, she looks like an Edomite, right? And now this dance is a dance, I believe it's out of Nigeria. They got, Jake got dances, every week, every month, Jake got a new dance, a new step. Then they'll go back to the old steps, and they'll kind of bring it back, and they'll change it up a little bit. So it's the same thing in West Africa, like the whole coast. We're talking Nigeria, Ghana, what is that? The Liberia, if I'm saying that right. Senegal, all the way down to South Africa. So, you know, when we say that there's going to be Israelites looking like Edomites, she looks like an Edomite, right? But the way she danced, maybe she's an Edomite that just perfected these moves. You know, I've seen Edomites dance and they'll do certain steps like Jake does, but it's a little robotic. She doesn't really look robotic. So, you know, if she's an actual Edomite, that's one up on me. But I'm looking at her dance, and she's dancing like a Jake, but a Jake from West Africa. I would say Nigeria. Hey, if you go to, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Hey, you know what? Let me just go let it play. Now listen up or watch. Scattered around among the heathen nations that look like the heathen, the aqua and a list of learning to you, I say, Malcolm from French. Already, you know, get it. This is Israelite. How that's such a thing. Yeah, that's a West African dance or group of dances. What I noticed is not just the steps, but the transition. See, Esau could do certain steps if they work hard at it, but they can't transition. You know, go from one step to another step. A smooth transition, and she has that. So, you know, can she be an Israelite? Personally, I believe she's an Israelite, but she looks like an Edomite. Let's watch a little bit more and listen, because the elder is teaching, speaking, so he's speaking on it. So let's listen too. And that still doesn't take away from the fact what we were supposed to do and what happened are two different things, right? We went off, we broke the law, we displeased the Lord. But in all that, any Israelite man that laid seed in the heathen, that child is still an Israelite. Point blank, period. I always pose this question and remind people of this. Jacob had 4 wives. Not one of them were Israelites. But yet all of his children were. His 12 sons and his 1 daughter were all Israelites, but not one of his wives were. So what does that tell you? It tells you if you fix your lips to say something stupid, like both your parents have to be an Israelite, that you're just stupid. Spirit is not with you. Yeah, and that's something that Fopi pushes. And the Most High is definitely not dealing with Fopi. Definitely not. They're all they are. They're just a stumbling block to get, so the Most High can trap certain Israelites. If that was the case, man, O.J. Simpson, he's not no black. In order for you to have so-called black, how can I say, Israelites on both sides, you got to be damn near black as tar. A Judite was super dark. So OJ, based upon that, OJ is not an Israelite. He's a heathen. And you can check the stats on him when he played. That dude was a Superman. You know? I'm thinking some other Malcolm X. Malcolm X, by the way, his mother was an Edomite. His father was Senegalese, which would make him, Senegal is in Africa, West Africa, which will make Malcolm X a heathen. This goes out to ISUPK, because the ISUPK they if somebody says, well, I'm from Ghana, you know, they look like Jake, they might, you know, they might have the hat tipped to the side. They might not even have an accent because they could be third generation Ghanaian, right? So they're listening to ISUPK, and the brother that's speaking might say, well, what's your nationality? And they're thinking he's an Israelite. He's either Judah, Benjamin, Levi, maybe Simeon. And then he said, well, my parents on both sides go back to Ghana. Automatically, you're a Hamite. You ain't part of us. The kid that Tazariak went back and forth with, I checked the spirit. He comes off as an Israelite, and I believe he was Ghanaian. And at first, Captain Tazariak accepted him. That was over the cookout. And then this guy, Sarnetta, you know, he didn't tell Captain Tazariak who he was, so he accepted him as an Israelite, right? And then Sarnetta said, well, tell him who you are, where you from. He says, from Ghana. Then you can see the expression on Captain Tazariak's face, and he says, well, you can't come to the cookout because you're a Hamite. Don't you, the scriptures say that we were scattered. We were scattered throughout all the planet. So Israel's going to look like everybody under the sun. Literally, anywhere they were scattered. That's why they were being called Gentiles by the circumcision. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Right? Here for hurt your feelings. Past that. Paul said, do I be rude in speech? Not knowledge. So if you fix your dumbass mouth, say about that both your parents need to be an Israelite. I'm stupid. Right? I'm stupid. This is First Kings.
She got the tongue sticking out her mouth like a Jake. When Jake dance, they can't help when they get to stepping, that tongue comes out, or the mouth, you know, your lips pop out. Now look at the. She looked like a Hamite, but she's a Jake. She a Jake. She got a Hamitic look though. But look at her head. Look at her. Look at both of them. Look at both of them.
It reads, nevertheless, thou shalt not build a house, but thy son that shall come forth out of thy loins, he shall build a house unto my name. Out of your loins, out of your nutsack, out of your scrotum. Right? The man has the life in him. The man carries the seed. He puts it into the woman, and the woman brings forth that man's seed. Our woman's supposed to be one man. Actually, your DNA attaches to them, right? DNA attaches to you. So if too many DNA is attached to you, that's where that fish smell comes from. You know, that fishy odor is evidence of water. Not gonna be nice. That's exactly what it is. You shower, you bathe, you clean, you wash your body. But that fishy odor, sometimes it's bad diet, but that's what it is. Because the man's DNA stays on your life. Every man is actually allowed to come into you, right? That's even scientific, right? But to continue in the lesson, let's go to Numbers 1 and 18. Plain milk scripture on the subject. It reads, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and declared their pedigrees, race, and heritage. After their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names, from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. So determine on who your father is, which tribe, whether it was Benjamin, Zebulun, Naphtali, Issachar, Judah, Ephraim, Reuben, whatever it was. That's how they determine who you are. Point blank, period.
Now, Elder Malcolm made a statement early in the video, maybe 2 minutes in, a minute and a half in. He spoke about the 4 women or the 4 wives of Yaquab or Jacob, and that none of them were Israelites. If you want to get technical, Jacob wasn't an Israelite. You know, Israel didn't come about until his name was changed and he had his sons that became Israelites. But the 2 wives that he had through by the father being Laban, and by the way, the word Laban, and that's the name that I wanted when I first came in. I was going into the Hebrew, and I said I wanted to be called Laban because Laban means white because I was light skinned, and Ariel said no, you're not Laban, you're Tahar. That's going to be your name. Yeah, but look, I know. In other words, he ordered me. He said, look, your name is Tahar. And he told me what it meant, and it means pure. But, you know, I'm light-skinned. Laban most likely had to be light-skinned to have that name. Could be for another reason, but I believe he was light-skinned. It could be wrong. We don't have any pictures of him, any you know, icons of him, nothing like that. But he had 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel, and it was all set up through the spirit. The fact that Laban tricked Jacob, it was all through the spirit. It really wasn't wicked that he did. He used custom, aka law. A custom is a law, you know. It's like an unwritten law. So he had 2 daughters, Rachel and Leah, which were Hebrews. Which, if you want to go deep, they will call they were Syrians, which they weren't Syria. They were living in Syria, but they were Hebrews that came out of the loins of Terah, Abram's father. Abram had 2 other brothers. Which brother did Laban come out of? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was, somebody can help me out. I believe it was Nahor. I could be wrong. Just put it up in the comment section. I'm not going to go look for it. I can easily look for it. But anyway, they were Hebrews. They were Hebrews. They were Shemitic Hebrews. And that was the building of the nation. That was the Most High building the nation. You know, when you go through the timeline, right? You go through genealogies. You know, you had Terah out of Ur of the Chaldees, which is you got that, which makes up the Fertile Crescent. He came out of Ur of the Chaldees, went up into Haran, came down, went past Jerusalem, Canaan, and Egypt. So the Most High was building the nation of Israel. Abraham was not an Israelite. Isaac was not an Israelite. But did they come back as Israelites? You goddamn right, they came back as Israelites. What proves that? They said Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will be in the kingdom. They're going to be sitting up in high seats in the kingdom. So before the Most High called them Israelites, they were called Hebrews, or sons of the Most High. Anyway, Jacob or Yaquab had 4 women. He had a Rachel and Leah and Rachel, and both of them had handmaids. There's a movie came out back in the 90s called The Handmaid's Tale, which was a good movie. It was showing you how they went back to the genesis of how you had handmaids. If a woman couldn't bear your child, you would have a handmaid, the woman's handmaid, you would go unto her, And the child that will come out will be the master woman's, the mistress's, master of the house. It will be that child. There's a whole history on that. The thing with Abraham and Sarah, she couldn't bear children. Most High performed a miracle. She had a child, but the first child came out of Abraham's loin into Hagar, which was Ishmael. That was supposed to be Sarah's son, because Hagar was a handmaid. But you know what? The feelings got involved. She wasn't feeling, Ishmael and Hagar. And you know what she started doing? She started beating the shit out of, it doesn't tell you that in the scriptures, but she put so much hell on her that she went out, she had to go out into the damn wilderness, out into the woods. Are you gonna go out into the woods with a son, a baby, be out in the woods with the wild beasts because she gave you a dirty look? No, she was smacking the shit out of her. She was kicking her in the ass. She would walk by, she'd stick her leg out and trip her. Sarah turned into the N woman. All right. But so the Most High, through the Spirit, at that advanced age, she was able to have a child. And that was the beloved son of Abraham, which is Yahushua today. I'm just speaking on history, biblical history. And that's where the nation came from. And like I said, we dealt with to build that nation up. In the beginning, you had to deal with heathen people until it was closed. The Most High said, okay, just deal. The Lord said, just deal with, don't marry outside your race, so to speak. And race just goes back to the Latin word raza, which means gene. So when somebody says, are you a racist? What's in their mind? Well, he's a white person. That's a dark-skinned person, a black person, or whatever. Guess what? They could be part of the same race. Race has nothing to do with color. You dumb idiots out there. You morons. Race goes back to seed. Guess what? In the beginning, Jacob and Esau were part of the same race, the same gene, the father's one seed or two seeds, however you want to say it. He laid with Rebecca, and they had two sons. They had twins, and the Most High explained through the prophet, through the seer, that out of your womb, your belly, shall come two nations. So guess what? The same seed, but the Most High put a different spirit in one seed as opposed to the other seed. So the spirit that the Most High put, he was creating the nations. He was creating the nations. He had to create the Canaanites. He had to create the Japhites. And they're all here. They're all here. Every person that you run into, they all have biblical origins. And this is what Christians don't even understand. Now, through the years of Israel, the sons of Israel, being delivered out of Egypt and going into the wilderness and going into the promised land, and how can I say, the scattering of Israel, they dealt with other women. So you had Israelites back then. We're talking thousands of years ago. You had some of them looking like Edomites, some of them looking like Arabs, some of them looking like Moabites, because Jake used to get with other nations' women and fall in love with them. And that's in the history. I'm not going to go into the history, but you're supposed to take the woman in. You're really supposed to marry Israelite women, but you're going to have concubines of other nations, and you're going to have sons through those other nations. Anytime you put your seed in another nation among their women, the seed that comes out is an Israelite, whether he looks Arab looking, whether he looks Moabite looking, Moabitish. Hell, that happened back the account with the Ishmaelitish woman and her son, which the father was a so-called Egyptian, but his spirit wasn't right. Even though he came out the womb of Israelite woman, the spirit that was in him was a spirit of a Hamite. That's why he cursed the God of the Most High, the God of Israel, because his spirit was against the God of Israel. It's all in the spirit. It's all in the spirit, you know? Let's listen to a little bit more. I'm yapping a little bit.
The mother had nothing to do with it, right? So, I mean, it's just a fact. We got scattered around the world, among all heathen. Matter of fact, that's for the scriptures to do that. It's going to be a quick, precise, precision hit to the subject matter. Tobit 13 and start at verse 1, read through 5. Right? And it reads, then Tobit wrote a prayer of rejoicing and said, blessed be God that liveth forever, and blessed be his kingdom. For he doth scourge and have mercy. He leadeth us down to hell and bringeth up again. Neither is there any that can avoid his hand. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he hath scattered us among them. There declare his greatness and extol him before all.
And in doing that, you had Israelite men who got with women of other nations. Like I said, if Phopes, or how can I say, what word can I use? Phopes' theory is true, then more than half of the so-called Israelites out there, including the men of Phopes, are Edomites, because you ain't black, brother. I'm talking about Elder Quanath, self-appointed Elder Quanath. You are not black. You kind of got a Reubenite, Gadite look to you. Oh, the brother speaking right now, the Elder Malcolm, he would be a heathen based upon what you said, because he's a Reubenite, a so-called Seminole. So, in order for you to be a true Israelite, you got to damn near be black as tar. You're going to have Israelites looking the speckled bird, Jeremiah 12, verse 9.
All living, for he is our Lord, and he is God, our Father forever. He will scourge us for all our iniquities, and he will have mercy again, and he will gather us out of all nations among whom he have scattered us. So the Lord scattered us, and now the Lord is going to gather us up, right?
And that's what Esau is afraid of. Now, it just came to my mind, Revelation chapter. Let me open up another tab. Bear me for a minute. Okay, let me just put together another. I don't need this anymore. Let me put this together. Give me a second here. Whole lot of precepts come to mind. One just came to mind, so I'm going to speak on it. Revelation 7. Okay, 100. We already know this. 144,000. You don't have to do a lot of deep hermeneutics on this. It's very pretty much. It is how it's written. It means what is written. The 144,000. This is what I'm gonna do. Let me do this because vocab Malone says that this is not talking about Israelites. It's just talking about the body of believers. Give me a second here. Okay. It says 144,000. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Now, this is what I'm going to do. However, I want to be fair. Inside joke. Okay. Just see what the comment. I'm going to the commentary page. Let's see what these Christian scholars have to say about this. You're taking so damn long. Well, they have a lot to say. Let's go to Bengals Nomen. Revelation 7:4. It says, Israel in the strict sense is denoted, for this book pronounces literally respecting Israel many things which some take in a figurative sense. Israelism, as H. Moore terms it, book 1, synopsis, whatever, ought not to be too much extended. Lempe rightly says that the Jews ought to be sought for an apocalypse more than most interpreters have found them. Let me read that again from the top. Let me just read the top. It says, Israel in the strict sense is denoted, but this book pronounces literally respecting Israel many things. So you just heard what he had to say. Let that marinate your brain. Let me come up here. Okay, let's read some of this. Expositor's Greek Testament Revelation 7, verse 4, after a pause in which the sealing is supposed to have taken place, the writer hears that the number of the sealed is the stereotype type 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, 8,000 being the primitive subdivision of a clan or tribe, like the English shire into hundreds. The enumeration of the 12 tribes contains two particularities: the substitution of Joseph for Ephraim. I'm glad they said that. The substitution for Joseph of Ephraim, because vocab says that we know that this is not talking about the actual Israelites, because it says Joseph. It doesn't say Ephraim. Well, Joseph and Ephraim are interchangeable. I'm going to show you that. It said the substitution of Joseph for Ephraim, a variation to which we have no clue. Well, we have a clue. And the omission of Dan. Why was Dan omitted? The omission of Dan doesn't tell you. Dan, the spirit of Dan had to be mingled among the other tribes, or mingled within one tribe. It says Joshua 19, verse 40, and the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families. Judges 1, verse 34, let's see what that says. And the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountains, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. Or drops out entirely. So we don't, like when High Priest Ariah taught that, it says we really can't speak on what happened to Dan, but they just phased out. They would have to be the spirit had to be mingled among the rest of the tribes, or become part of one tribe. So the Danites of old could be the Judites of today. Just giving you an example. But what does it say in 1 Corinthians 13? The 13th chapter, we see through a glass, how does it say? Darkly. In other words, there's a smoke in the glass. You can see things, but you can't fully see it. Crystal clear. While it is curiously connected in the Talmud, we don't want to deal with that, as already in text, blah, 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 Daniel 5. Anyway, they're pretty much saying that it's talking about the other tribes. That's why they said so much about Dan. And then they mentioned Joseph. Like I said, Joseph, let me go back to that. It said the enumeration of these tribes, the actual tribes, Revelation 7, 5 to 8, contains two particularities, peculiarities, tongue twister for me, the substitution of Joseph for Ephraim. Let's look at one more. Okay, I wanted to go to Cambridge. Let's see what Cambridge has to say. The sealing of the 144,000, Revelation 7, verse 4 to 8, and 144,000 as there are 12 tribes. So in each tribe, there are to be 12,000, possibly with a reminiscence of the primitive political and military organization, when 1,000 as a recognized subdivision of a tribe. So let's get into that. Judges 6, verse 15. Let's see what that says. And he said to him, O my Lord, with which shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family's house. Micah 5, verse 2. But you, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you be the little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me, yet out of you shall he come forth to me, which is the Messiah, that is to be ruler in Yasha'Allah, whose going forth have been from of old, from everlasting, because he's always been here. He's always been here, man. So let me read this. The sealing of the 144,000, Revelation 7, verse 4 to 8, and 144,000, as these are the 12 tribes. So in each tribe, there are to be 12,000. We read all that. It says, it goes on to say, anyway, we probably, to understand that each portion of Israel, national Israel, is a miniature likeness of the whole. Of all the tribes of the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, it is one of the most controverted of the minor questions of interpretation of this book, whether Israel is here to be understood in the literal or the spiritual sense. It's a spiritual sense, I mean the literal sense, the vision of a certain number of Israelites. But we don't got to read anymore. We know this talking about actual Israel. So, you know, if anything, vocab Malone, you should apply the scripture where it speaks of in Matthew, I believe it's Matthew, it speaks of before you can matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. What is the damn word? Damn. Let me try it again. I'm sorry. B. Okay, it's in Luke, and it's also in Matthew. Matthew 7, verse 3. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considereth not the beam that is in thine own eye? It says, and that's what you're doing. You're coming against us, and you're not even correcting your fellow Christians. Fourth verse. Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Your own eye is talking about the eye of Christianity. These people are not, pursuant to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10, the Apostle Paul said that you all speak the same thing. All you guys get together under different denominations of Christianity, and you have different beliefs. So you got to get yourself straight. It says, thou hypocrite. The Most High called you a hypocrite, vocab. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. So you have to straighten out the whole Christian community. No matter what you call yourself, you have to come on one accord in order for you to, okay, we got everything right. We see everything clearly. Now let's go correct the Israelites, which you're wrong anyway. Let me read that again. Matthew 7, verse 5. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, which you failed to do. And I'm focusing on vocab. And then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Like I said, you Christians, the Christian community, you're not on one accord. So a few of those commentaries I read, they all pretty much said it's literal. It's either literal or spiritual. We don't know. Now it says here a multitude from the tribulation. Another word for tribulation is the time of Jacob's trouble. Matter of fact, let me take the word tribulation. Deuteronomy 4, verse 30, excellent precept. When thou art in tribulation, the ultimate tribulation is the time of Jacob's trouble. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, time of Jacob's trouble, if thou turn to Yahweh thy power, and shall be obedient unto his voice. Now you got Jakes in the Kemetic community and Moors and whatever. Guess what? Every last one of them, everybody in the so-called conscious community, the Moors, the Baptists, the RCCs, every last one of you will be destroyed. You will take the charagma. That's the major prophecy that's going to come to pass before Jacob's trouble. The charagma is going to come before Jacob's trouble. The people that are stuck, get hit with the charagma, you're marked for destruction. Let me open this up. I'm a little all over the place, but that's all right. Still dealing with the same subject. Deuteronomy 4, verse 30. When thou art in tribulation. Now, right here, it's talking about any tribulation. But when it says, even in the latter days, what's that talking about? That's talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. It's not talking about every time we're in tribulation, that's the time of Jacob's trouble. Well, if that's the case, Michael had to come down. Every time we was in trouble, when the Babylonians enslaved us, Michael had to come down. Michael never came down to save nobody. That's the last tribulation, aka the time of Jacob's trouble. If thou turn to the Lord thy power, and shall be obedient unto his voice. And what is his voice? His voice. We are the voice of the Most High. For the Lord thy power, for the Lord thy power is a merciful power, but you have to come back to him. I'm telling you straight. Sarnetta, all those conscious people out there, you had a a little discussion with the two women and Captain Tazariak. Like I said, Captain Tazariak, you're gonna do what you want to do. You have no business talking to them. That's nothing but confused. I saw maybe 5 minutes. I said, I don't need to see this no more. Two scriptures came to mind about the woman. And the one sister trying to justify, like there's a shortage of men. No man wants to teach her. I got to step up. No. There's thousands of us out there teaching. So you don't need no woman. Now, can a woman teach? A woman can teach other women, mainly an older woman teaching younger women or teaching their daughters. But you can't sit and teach nobody. First of all, you don't know nothing. You don't understand all the precepts. And the Most High ain't dealing with you. The 144,000 are men and not women. Now, among the elect, are there women? Yeah. Let me read that again, 31st verse. For Yahweh thy power is a merciful power. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. Excuse me. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that the Most High created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there have been any such thing as this great thing is, or hath been heard like it. Did ever people hear the voice of the Most High speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard and live? Or hath the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst? This got to be read more, okay? And that shows you how the Most High created the nations, and he took out of the nation that he created. He said, now I'm gonna choose my favorite nation. Like you have shoes, you have a pair of shoes, or you have a suit that you wear. You got a handful of suits, and you got your favorite suit. It says, or you got woman, and you got your favorite woman, right? Let me read that again. 34th verse. Or hath the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? What was that talking about? We were under the so-called Egyptians, by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Most High, the Lord our power, did for you in Egypt before your eyes. And the same thing gonna happen over here. Let me read that again. Or hath the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? What nation are we under in the midst of? The nation of Esau. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. It says, oh, hath the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation. Take him. And that's separation right there. The Most High is dealing with one nation. Couldn't he have scooped up a couple of the other nations? No. He's gonna separate them from one nation from another nation. In this case, Jacob and Esau. It says, take him a nation from the midst of another nation. Esau right now, Egypt back then. By temptations, by signs, which are miracles, spiritual power, visitation of the Most High, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord Yahweh, the Most High power, did for you, the Israelites, in Egypt before your eyes. So it's going to happen again. This is the second Egypt. "35th verse. Unto thee it was showed that thou mightest know that the Lord Yahweh, the Most High. He is the power. There is none else besides him. So where we at? Let's go back to I'm sorry, let me come back again. So you got 22 precepts and 22 verses of KJV of the word tribulation. Coming back over here. Come back over here, 14th verse. So we know that the Most High is only dealing with Israel, and Israel is going to look like other nations. They're going to look like them other nations. They're going to act like the other nations. They're going to come out of heathenist practices. But the ones that are going to be saved are the ones that turn back to the Most High through his voice, and his voice comes through the prophets, which we are the prophets. A multitude from the tribulation, right? 9th verse. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations. You Christians jump on this. All nations, meaning you Israelites, were scattered through the nations. I just read that in Deuteronomy 4. And kindreds, families, kinfolk, and people and tongue, because we speak in different languages. That go to Acts 2. Stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Now that word white, I bet you the word is Lucas. Let's see. With white.
Strong's G 3022. Lucas,
which means light. From Luke, light. That's where you get the word Lucifer. It just means light. Light, bright, brilliant from whiteness, dazzling white, of the garments of angels and of those exalted to the splendor of the heavenly state. And that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to be angels in bodies, shining or white garments worn on festivals of Israel and state occasions, of white garments as the sign of what? Innocence. There'll be no guile in Israel, as Revelation 14. And purity is going to make us pure, of the soul, dead white, of the whitening color of ripening grain. You know what? Let me do this. Let me get ready to close it. I didn't really have a topic. I was a little all over the place, but let me just try this here. I want to get a good picture here. There we go. Okay, that means the wheat is ripe when it's white. And that white goes back to purity. Look at that, white. Luke 10. Because the Most High likened this this truth that we're into, teaching his word as working in the field. It says a white, ready to harvest. There it is again. Oh, this is beautiful. Let me bring this up. I guess when it's fully grown. Okay, when it's fully grown. But I guess it represents days. So you got okay, so when the wheat is highest and tallest, it's white. Here we go again. You see, it's white. That means it's ready to be picked. Picking barley grains. Learn about the harvesting barley crops. They're white. There's a perfect picture. That you can clearly see it. They're white. Pre-harvest sprouting of wheat. You see that it's white, right? It's ready to be picked. If it looked like this, it's not ready to be picked. It has to look like this. White. Let me give you one more precept and then I'm gonna close. And it even, let me do this here. Luke 10. Okay, let me see. Luke 10:1. After these things, Yahweh Shai appointed other 70 also and sent them two by two before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord, the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. You know what I was looking for? Bear with me for a minute. Okay, I found it. It's in John, I believe it's in John 4, verse 35. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields. And the fields represent what? The world. That's in Matthew 13. The fields represent Israelites scattered throughout the world, right? for they are white, ready to harvest. And I showed you what is meant by wheat being white. When you see it white, it said it's ready to be harvested. Okay? So let me look up this word white. Then I'll close it. You know, the scriptures say in Luke 9:60, was it 62? Anyone that turneth his back, I'm merely paraphrasing, anyone that turneth his back on the plow is not fit for the kingdom. When you're plowing, you have to look, you have to be focused. You have to be focused, because if you're not focused, the oxen, they're going to go their own way. So you're not going to have a straight line. You have to have a straight line when you're plowing. So when you plant the seeds, you put it in a straight line. So if the master sees that the line is not straight, he sees that you wasn't focused. So guess what? He's gonna say, no, you got to get out of here. And that's what it means when we're in this truth. The Most High likens this truth of us teaching the word as a husbandman, as a man that planteth, as a man that ploweth and soweth. It says, say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. So the harvest is what? The harvest is when Jacob's trouble coming, when the angels coming, when the Lord come with the angels behind him, and the taking down of Esau and the setting up of Israel. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes. We're in the time right now to teach this word. You guys that are bullshitting and taking weeks off, or you doing disappearing acts. Like, I got time. I'll get into it in another 2 years. No. This is the time right now. It said, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white, ready to harvest. So I said I was going to look up the word white. Lukos. So when you go to Revelation 6:2, and it speaks about a white horse, it ain't talking about Esau. It's talking about Yahweh Shai. Okay, give me a second. Let me bring this back here. Let me look up the word harvest.
Strong's G 2326. That is mas.
Harvest, the act of reaping. We're in the time of reaping, right? The Lord and the angels are getting ready to reap. Matthew 13, Revelation 14, figuratively of the gathering of men into the kingdom of, ooh. So we're workers in the field. We're husbandmen, referring to the time of reaping, the final judgment, which is the, Jacob's trouble, the final judgment, when the righteous, the Israelites, are gathered into the kingdom of the Most High, and the wicked, Esau, are cast into hell forever. That's slavery. I told, boy, look at that. Matthew 13:30. Let both grow together, that's the wheat and the tares, until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, which are the angels, gather ye together the first the tares, which are the Edomites, because you're gonna have Edomites looking like Jake, and bind them in bundles to burn them. To burn them is talking about the missiles, but gather the wheat into my barn, which is the kingdom. Now this is 39. Let me go to 38. It said the field, like I said, it said the fields are white, ready to harvest, right? So we're supposed to be teaching. This is the time. Then there was a cry made, Matthew 25. We're in that time. We ain't in the time. We ain't supposed to be speaking this yet until the eclipse comes when the moon turns blue or some bullshit. That's why we dismiss you. If you say something stupid on a common board, we're cutting you, man. We're not here to argue. We're not here to debate. We're here to tell you the truth. It's the Most High's way or the highway. Somebody wants to have a debate and discussion. If he's going left, we can't deal with you, man. And this one guy rolled up on us. He kept talking about China this and China that. And there was a point where we said, this guy ain't making no sense. And we spoke over him. He said, well, wait a minute, when you going to let me speak? This is supposed to be a dialogue. I said, no, this ain't no dialogue. I said, it's our way or the highway. He said, well, I'm out of here. Well, goodbye. You're back at the old school. If you came with some old philosophical mumbo jumbo, guess what? They told you to get out of here. Get the hell up out of here, man. I remember, and you can ask Elder Barack or whatever title he has, or the HODC, you can ask General Yohana or Yohana, which Yohana is not even Hebrew. It's Yahanan. You can even ask that if you didn't believe that Marshall was King David, they said, look, they'll kick you out of school right on the spot. They said, look, you got to get up and leave. And I've seen that happen. But then ultimately, they said, oh, he's just a nigger. He's just a big-headed truck driver from Detroit. That's what Priest Yeshaya said. He said that to me. He said, Mo is just a big-headed truck driver from Detroit. And Mo treated him like his son. And we believed back then that Yeshaya could very well be Absalom. Because King Marshall loved Yeshaya. It says, Matthew 13, verse 38, the field is the world, the good seed are the field is the world, the field, right, white, ready to harvest, right? This is the time that we're supposed to be speaking, and there was a cry and a cry was heard. The good seed, which are the Israelites, are the children of the kingdom, which are the Israelites. But the tares, which are Edomites and really other nations, are the children of the wicked, mainly Esau, the wicked one. The enemy that soweth them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. The harvest is the end of the world is also the time of Jacob's trouble. There's only one time of Jacob's trouble. And the reapers are the angels, because who's going to deliver us in the time of Jacob's trouble, which is right around the corner, right up the block? Who's going to deliver us? The Lord, the angels. Daniel 12:1, Revelation 12. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, which is the nuclear fire, so shall it be in the what? End of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and who's going to be the head angel? Michael. Time of Jacob's trouble, Daniel 12. And they shall gather out of the kingdom all things that offend. So guess what, vocab? You can get burnt. You're going to be part of that bundle that's going to get burnt, cast in the burning oven. Behold, the days come that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And them which do iniquity. See, he doesn't realize, vocab Malone doesn't realize that he's committing a heinous crime, a heinous iniquity by coming against the prophets of the Most High. You ain't fighting against us, you're fighting against the Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and shall be and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Now, if none of these conscience guys, they're going to be in there in the fire. They're going to join you in the fire. Then shall the righteous shine. Wait a minute. Where do we hear that? Then shall the righteous shine. Where do we hear that? Daniel 12. After Jacob's trouble, we're going to shine. You know, Esau and slavery used to call us in the Jim Crow era, which was still in the Jim Crow era. That never died. They back then they call us shines. It says, then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their father. Daniel 12, I believe that's Daniel 12 and 3, Daniel 12 and 4. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. All right, one more precept, and then I'm going to close it. Revelation 14. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, short. Okay, the Lamb and 144,000 on Mount Zion, talking about Israel, starting with the 144,000. The vision of the angel with the gospel. You know what? Let me read some of this. 6th verse. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment, which is the time of Jacob's trouble, is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, which is America, the fourth part of the earth, the fourth part of the world, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Ultimately, it's going to be the great, the charagma. That's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. It's a doom for worshipers of the beast. You worship the beast by sealing the deal by taking the charagma. And I'm gonna say this again. I've been saying this. Any Israelite group out there that's saying that the MOTB is something other than what we here at GMS says, you got the bag. Trust me, you got the bag. You got the bag just like Floyd Mayweather got the bag. I was checking out Floyd Mayweather. I gotta go into this. I'm gonna come back to this. I was checking out Floyd Mayweather. Give me a second. Now it's acting up. Now it's acting up. Okay, there goes Luke Radowski. By the way, we talked to that guy. He came to the camp years ago. He was out there with us for about a good hour. We told him he's an Israelite. He said, yeah, they said I'm an Israelite. Okay, bear with me for a minute.
This is a brief history of B&H, everyone's favorite photo and video.
Mayweather. Okay, this is Jake is getting on Mayweather. Anyway, okay, this I believe this is it. Floyd Mayweather versus Don Moore final press conference for the showcase in the skies of Dubai. I'm gonna jump right to it. Okay, boom. If you notice, you see Mayweather, as soon as he sat down, you see the hand signal? See that right there? And he kept that up for most of the press conference. What is that saying? What is that saying? So he's going to take the charagma. All right, he's not going to be able to use the Philly shell to block the charagma. Real talk. All right, I'm going a little bit long. Please forgive me. Okay. Doom of the worshipers of the beast. And Floyd, let me bring it back up. Floyd worships the beast. He's part of the system. And what's going to seal the deal? The charagma. I see all these guys are going to take the charagma. Sarnetta and them, they're going to take the charagma. The Moors, they're going to take the charagma. I don't know what ISU, the members of the IUIC and the ISUPK going to do when that comes. They're going to ask a lot of questions. Does it really mean? Because GMS, and they're going to hear GMS quite a bit. You're going to have calls, yeah, but GMS for years been saying you're going to see the look, the eyes pop, going, rolling up in their head. Every time I turn around, GMS, because we believe we're the true men of the Lord. If you're a true man or a prophet of the Lord, you will be teaching the same thing that we teach as far as the charagma is concerned. Real talk. Worshiping the beast is one thing. Sealing the deal by getting the charagma is another. This, my man right here, he's going to take it. If he don't got it already, he's going to take it. He's going to push it. And then he's going to be destroyed. Then he's going to have to come back as a newborn baby. You better recognize. So let me finish on this. It says, doom, visiting the angel. What did the angel say? In the 8th verse, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. What's going to seal the deal is the charagma. Doom for worshipers of the beast. And the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his what? Mark in their foreheads or in their hand, we are the only ones. Sakari teaches it too. Give them credit. We go back and forth with Sakari, but when it comes to to hermeneutics of the prophetic scriptures, they are on point for the most part. They go off a little bit here and there. The white horse in Revelation 6 is talking about Yahweh Shai. And the Bible doesn't have to be in a particular order. If that was the case, that means Yahweh Shai is coming in 2nd Ezra 13. That means he's coming before the famine and the destruction in 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire. What fire? The nuclear fire, the lasers from the ships. and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels. Why? Because the Lord and the holy angels are going to be up above them, shooting lasers on them while missiles are pelting this place, and in the presence of the Lamb, which is our Lord. So you're going to have Yahushua, which is the head, then you're going to have Michael right behind him, and you're going to have the rest of the angels behind them. You're going to have the archangels and the rest of the angels. It says, now wait a minute, let's come back. It says that they're going to be, that the Christians will say that that's talking about hell. So you mean to tell me that the angels and the Lamb is going to be down in hell watching them? They're going to be up, they're going to be in hell watching the Edomites burn or other nations burn? No, it's talking about the destruction of Babylon the Great, that great whore. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, meaning a long time. And they have no rest day nor night, because they're going to be slaves who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, which is the charagma, which we've been saying for years. You better get with the program, because we got it right and you got it wrong. And this is not going to, the Israelites that take the charagma, they're going to come back anyway. It's talking about Esau and the other nations. Daniel 7. Here is the patience and here's the patience of the saints. So we got to wait. Here are so anybody that loses it and goes busting caps and motherfuckers, they lost patience. They're not an Israel of the Most High, pursuant to Galatians 6. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High. What commandments? Read Matthew 19, verse 16. With the rich man, the young rich man, and the faith of Yahushua. It says, wait a minute, the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushua. 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, blessed are the dead which die in Yahweh from henceforth. Abba, which is Elijah, Marshall, King David, Yaquab, anybody that's in this truth and died, they're good, their work go with them. Yeah, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. Okay, it says the reapers. We read about the reapers in Matthew 13, right? And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, which is our Lord, have Revelation 6 and 2, and on his head a golden crown. A white cloud, meaning white horse, in Revelation 2, and it says, and had a crown on his head. And in his hand a sharp sickle. Revelation 6 and 2 says he had a bow. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. And another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, the white cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So what does it say in Luke 10 and John? It says white unto harvest. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle, conquering and to conquer on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, nuclear fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sickle, Matthew 13, 38 on down, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are full ripe. Isaiah 63 and 1. And the angel thrust the sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. So what is that talking about? They're going to get stomped spiritually. Physically, they're going to get jacked up by the fire, the missiles, and the lasers of the ship. And the wine press was, and this is symbolic, parabolic, poetic. And I'm gonna close on this verse. And the wine press was trodden without the city, the holy city, and blood of who? The Edomites came out of the wine press even unto the horses' bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.